The morning fog rolled across the Pacific Ocean as the U.S. Delaware cut through the waves. Captain James Miller stood on the bridge, watching his crew conduct their routine missile defense drills. 20 years in the Navy had taught him to expect the unexpected, but nothing could have prepared him for what happened next. The first sign was a slight tremor in the ship's instruments. Then the radar screen lit up with something impossible, an object descending from the upper atmosphere at speeds that would tear any known aircraft apart. Miller's first thought was that it might be some new Chinese or Russian weapon, but as he watched the strange readings, he knew this was something else entirely. "Sir," called out the radar operator, his voice shaking slightly, "the object is slowing down. It's stopping right above us." The massive shape that emerged from the clouds made everyone on the bridge forget to breathe. It was beautiful in a terrifying way. A sleek, silvery vessel about twice the size of an aircraft carrier, hovering silently above the water. Its surface gleamed with a strange, pearl-like shine that seemed to change color as they watched. "All stations, battle positions," Miller ordered calmly, though his heart was racing. "But do not, I repeat, do not lock weapons." He knew that if this was what he thought it was, they were dealing with something far beyond their usual capabilities. The alien ship, because that's what it had to be, made no aggressive moves. Instead, it projected a massive hologram visible to everyone on deck, a message in perfect English. "Greetings, Earth vessel. This is Ambassador Thex of the Galactic Council. We come in peace and request permission to send a diplomatic party to your ship." Miller looked at his XO, who seemed as stunned as everyone else. "Well," Miller said with a slight smile, "I guess we're about to make history. Alert command and prepare to receive visitors." The diplomatic party arrived in a smaller craft that landed smoothly on the Delaware's deck. As the landing ramp descended, Miller and his officers stood ready to greet their visitors. 6 figures emerged, tall, elegant beings with silvery skin and flowing robes that seemed to shimmer with their own inner light. Ambassador Thex led the group, his large, almond-shaped eyes taking in everything with obvious curiosity. But when his gaze fell on the ship's weapon systems, his expression changed to something that looked remarkably like amusement. "Captain Miller," the ambassador said, his voice surprisingly warm, "we are honored to make humanity's acquaintance, though I must admit, we're somewhat surprised by what we see." One of the ambassador's aides was openly smirking now, studying the ship's missile launchers with the kind of look someone might give to a child's crayon drawing. "Is something amusing, Ambassador?" Miller asked politely. "Oh, please forgive our reaction," Thex said, trying to compose himself. "It's just that. Well, you're still using projectile weapons. Actual physical projectiles. We haven't seen those in active military use for over 3 centuries." The alien delegation exchanged knowing looks. Another aide pulled out a device that emitted a scanning beam, sweeping it across the deck. "Fascinating," the aide said, not bothering to hide his condescension. "Their most advanced weapons are based on chemical propellants and metallic projectiles. No energy weapons at all. Not even basic shield technology." Miller kept his face carefully neutral, though he could see his crew's growing discomfort at being treated like technological cavemen. "Our weapons have served us well," he said simply. "Oh, I'm sure they have," Thex replied with what seemed to be genuine kindness. "Against other humans. But now that you'll be joining the galactic community, you'll need to advance. The Council will help you upgrade, of course. Can't have member species running around with such primitive armaments." As the ambassador continued his diplomatic speech about helping humanity catch up to galactic standards, Miller noticed something interesting. The alien scanning device had mapped out all their weapon systems perfectly, except for the new experimental railgun hidden below deck. Somehow, its magnetic acceleration system had confused their scans. Miller filed that information away carefully. The aliens might be laughing now, but something told him that humanity's primitive weapons might have advantages these advanced beings hadn't considered. For now, though, he simply smiled and played the part of the grateful primitive. all while making mental notes about the visitors' technology and their obvious blind spots. The first contact that would change Earth forever continued under the morning sun, with neither side fully understanding just how significant their misconceptions would prove to be. 3 days after first contact, Captain Miller found himself in an unexpected location, a massive meeting room aboard the Galactic Council's diplomatic vessel, alongside Earth's hastily assembled diplomatic team. The room's walls shifted with holographic displays showing various alien worlds and space stations, a clear demonstration of the Council's technological superiority. Ambassador Thex stood at the front of the room, his silver skin gleaming under the soft light. "We have reviewed Earth's current technological state," he announced, his tone gentle but firm. "The Council has decided to offer humanity membership, but there are conditions." General Robert Ward, Earth's senior military representative, leaned forward in his chair. "What kind of conditions?" A hologram appeared in the center of the room, showing various human military vehicles, tanks, ships, planes, and missile systems. One by one, red X marks appeared over them. "Your weaponry," Thex said, "must be upgraded to meet Council standards. Kinetic weapons, what you call guns, and missiles, are prohibited for all member species. They're simply too crude and dangerous." The human delegation exchanged worried glances. "Too dangerous?" General Ward asked, his bushy eyebrows rising. "Compared to what?" Thex smiled and pressed a button on his wrist device. The hologram changed to show a sleek alien weapon. "This is a standard Council defense system. It uses focused energy beams, guided by artificial intelligence, with zero collateral damage. The energy shields make conventional weapons useless anyway." To demonstrate, he fired the weapon at a target. A brilliant blue beam struck with surgical precision, leaving a perfectly circular hole. Then he activated a shield around the target. When he fired again, the beam dissipated harmlessly against the shimmering barrier. "You have 5 years to phase out all kinetic weapons and adopt Council-approved technology," Thex continued. "We will provide the necessary guidance and equipment, of course." Miller watched the demonstration with careful attention. The weapons were impressive, no doubt, but something about their predictable energy patterns and the standardized shield frequency made his military mind tick. When the alien beam hit the shield, he noticed a slight delay, barely a fraction of a second, before the shield responded. One of the Council's junior members, apparently unable to contain himself, added, "Really, it's for your own good. Imagine showing up to a space battle with gunpowder and metal bullets." Several other Council members chuckled at the joke. "And if we refuse?" asked Defense Secretary Helen Cooper, her voice steady. The room's temperature seemed to drop several degrees. "That would be unfortunate," Thex replied. "The Council doesn't allow non-compliant species to maintain independent military forces. It's either upgrade or submit to direct Council military oversight." As the implications sank in, Miller caught General Ward's eye. The general gave him a tiny nod. They were thinking the same thing. The Council's overconfidence might just be their weakness. "We'll need time to discuss this with our governments," Secretary Cooper said diplomatically. "Of course," Thex responded. "You have 1 Earth week to begin the integration process. Our technical teams are ready to start the upgrade immediately." After the meeting, Miller pulled General Ward aside in a secure room that Earth's tech experts had swept for monitoring devices. "Sir," he said quietly, "did you notice the shield's response time?" Ward nodded. "And the fixed frequency of their energy weapons. They've standardized everything. Made it all nice and predictable. A railgun projectile would cross that gap before their shields could react," Miller added. "And if we modify our kinetic weapons with some of their tech." "Already thinking ahead, Captain." Ward smiled grimly. "Good, because I'm about to put you in charge of a very special project. On paper, we'll be upgrading to their weapons. But in reality," he left the sentence unfinished. Miller understood perfectly. Humanity would play along, pretend to be the good primitive species eager to learn. But underneath their apparent compliance, they would be preparing something the Council never expected. A perfect blend of old and new, of primitive and advanced. The Council thought they were forcing humanity to evolve. They didn't realize they were actually giving humans exactly what they needed to become even more dangerous. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, in a facility that officially didn't exist, Dr. Anna Thompson stared at the strange combination of technology before her. A standard naval railgun had been modified with salvaged alien tech, its barrel now glowing with the same pearlescent sheen as Council weapons. "Try it again," she called to her team. They were running their 15th test of the day, and she could feel they were close to a breakthrough. The hybrid weapon hummed to life, its energy signature exactly matching that of a Council standard beam weapon. But inside, powerful magnets prepared to launch a very non-standard projectile. Captain Miller stood behind reinforced glass, watching intently. 4 months had passed since Earth had officially accepted the Council's generous offer of technological uplift. In that time, they'd learned more about alien technology than the Council had intended to share. "Energy signature is stable," one of the technicians reported. Council sensors would read this as a normal beam cannon. "Fire," Thompson ordered. The weapon discharged with a peculiar sound, part magnetic snap, part energy hum. The projectile, a specially designed round coated in energy-absorbing materials, launched at hypersonic speed. On tracking screens, it appeared as nothing more than a standard energy beam. The target, protected by a Council-grade shield, stood at the far end of the test range. The round struck before the shield could properly activate, punching through the barrier as if it wasn't there. The impact left a clean hole through the reinforced material behind it. "Now that," Miller said with a smile, "is what I call an upgrade." Thompson nodded, already reviewing the data. The energy coding masks the kinetic round from their sensors. By the time they realize it's not an energy beam, it's already through their shields. This was just one of many projects happening in secret facilities across Earth. While Council observers watched humans apparently struggling to adapt to energy weapons, humanity's best minds were finding ways to combine the old with the new. In another section of the facility, engineers were modifying traditional bulletproof vests with thin layers of shield technology, creating armor that could stop both energy beams and physical projectiles. Elsewhere, teams worked on fighters that could switch between energy and kinetic weapons mid-battle. Miller picked up one of the hybrid rounds, studying its unusual design. "How many of these can we produce?" "With the automated manufacturing systems the Council gave us, thousands per day, per facility," Thompson replied. "They're so focused on teaching us about energy weapons, they don't even question why we need so many raw materials." A junior engineer rushed into the room, holding a tablet. "Dr. Thompson, the latest scans from the Council ship that visited yesterday. You were right. Their shield systems have a consistent reset pattern. If we time our shots, we can hit them during the microsecond their shields recycle." Thompson finished, her eyes lighting up. "Add that to the targeting computers." Miller watched the team work, feeling a mix of pride and concern. He believed in being prepared, but he hoped they'd never need to use these weapons. Still, the Council's dismissive attitude toward Earth's military made him uneasy. In his experience, those who dismissed human ingenuity usually learned their mistake the hard way. "One more thing, Captain," Thompson called as he turned to leave. "We found a way to modify our missile systems. On Council scans, they'll read as simple maintenance drones." Miller nodded. "Keep working. We have 3 months until the Council's first major inspection. By then, we need every new weapon to look exactly like their approved technology." As he walked back to his office, Miller reflected on how quickly humans had adapted. The Council thought they were lifting humanity up to their level. In reality, they were giving humans the tools to surpass them. In the test range behind him, another hybrid round pierced another shield. On the monitoring systems, it appeared as nothing more than a standard energy discharge. Perfect deception, wrapped in a package of seemingly primitive technology. The Council's greatest mistake wasn't underestimating human weapons. It was underestimating human creativity. The colony transport ship New Horizon looked exactly like what the Council expected from a newly spacefaring species, clumsy, overbuilt, and bristling with basic energy weapons. Perfect bait for pirates looking for an easy target. Captain Lisa Reed watched for sensor display as 3 sleek pirate vessels dropped out of faster-than-light travel, right on schedule. The pirates had been hitting colony ships along this route for months, counting on the primitive human vessels to be easy prey. "All hands, battle stations," she ordered calmly. "But remember, standard energy weapons only. Let them make the first move." The pirates, using stolen Council technology, approached with obvious confidence. Their leader's voice crackled over the comm system. "Human vessel, power down your systems and prepare to be boarded. Resist, and we'll cut your ship in half." Reed pressed a button, activating the ship's external speakers. "This is a civilian transport carrying colonists. We have Council-approved weapons only. Please don't hurt anyone." She could almost hear the pirates' laughter. The lead ship fired a warning shot, a bright energy beam that splashed harmlessly against the New Horizons' shields. Standard Council intimidation tactics. "Last warning," the pirate leader growled. "Power down in 10 seconds, or—" "Weapons free," Reed interrupted, but not on the external channel. "Show them what a primitive ship can do." The New Horizons' hull plates shifted, revealing hidden weapon ports. The pirates' sensors would show only standard energy weapons powering up. They weren't designed to detect the magnetic acceleration coils beneath the energy signatures. The pirate ships moved to surround the transport, their shields humming with confidence. They had no reason to worry. Their shields could handle anything a newly spacefaring race could throw at them. Then the New Horizon fired. The first volley looked like normal energy beams, right until the moment they struck. Instead of dispersing against the shields, hybrid rounds punched straight through, their energy coating masking their true nature until impact. The lead pirate ship's port engine exploded, sending it spinning. "Impossible." The pirate leader's voice cracked with panic. "Those are kinetic weapons. Humans don't have." The second volley cut off his transmission. Specially designed rounds, perfected in Dr. Thompson's lab, tore through shield generators and weapon systems with surgical precision. The pirates tried to return fire, but their energy weapons met updated human shields, enhanced with rotating frequencies that adapted to each hit. "Target their engines and weapons only," Reed commanded. "Let's show them how primitive humans handle pirates." The battle lasted less than 5 minutes. When it ended, all 3 pirate vessels hung dead in space, their engines and weapons disabled by precisely placed shots. Their shields, designed to stop energy weapons, had proven useless against humanity's hybrid technology. Reed opened a channel to the crippled ships. "This is your lucky day. We're not going to destroy you. Instead, you're going to deliver a message. Tell everyone what happened here. Tell them how a primitive human ship defeated 3 top-of-the-line pirate vessels." As Council peacekeeping ships approached in response to the distress signal, Reed sent a coded message back to Earth. "Field tests successful. Performance exceeded expectations. Pirates never saw it coming." In his office on Earth, Captain Miller read the report with satisfaction. The pirates' attack had provided the perfect opportunity to test their new weapons in real combat. Even better, the Council would likely dismiss the pirates' claims about hybrid weapons as excuses for their failure. "Send my congratulations to Captain Reed," he told his aide, "and tell Dr. Thompson her hybrid rounds performed perfectly." The aide paused at the door. "Sir, the Council representative is asking how a simple transport managed to defeat 3 pirate ships." Miller smiled. "Tell them our crews must have gotten lucky with their Council-approved weapons. After all, what else could it possibly be?" Somewhere in deep space, 3 ships full of very shaken pirates were learning a valuable lesson. Never judge a species by their supposed technological level. especially when that species has had centuries to perfect the art of warfare, using the very weapons their advanced neighbors had dismissed as obsolete. Admiral Tom Roberts stood calmly before the Council's Emergency Investigation Committee, his dress uniform perfectly pressed. The massive chamber, with its floating holograms and ornate alien architecture, was designed to make visitors feel small. He refused to be intimidated. "Would you explain?" Committee head Voss asked, his long fingers tapping impatiently on the podium. "How a simple human transport managed to defeat 3 well-armed pirate vessels." "Good training and proper use of the weapons you so generously provided," Roberts replied with a pleasant smile. "We may be new to energy weapons, but humans are quick learners." The chamber erupted in murmurs. Several council members exchanged worried looks. The pirate incident had caused quite a stir, especially after similar reports began coming in from other sectors. "Our analysis suggests otherwise," a stern-looking council member said. "The damage patterns on those ships don't match standard energy weapons." Roberts maintained his calm expression. Perhaps the pirates' shields were malfunctioning. They weren't exactly maintaining their stolen equipment properly. Behind the admiral, Captain Miller watched the exchange with hidden tension. The Council had sent 5 separate inspection teams to Earth in the past month. Each time, they found exactly what they expected: humans struggling to master basic energy weapons, with all their old kinetic weapons properly dismantled. Of course, they never found the secret facilities deep underground or the hidden weapon ports on human ships. Dr. Thompson's masking technology had worked perfectly. "We will be conducting another inspection," Voss announced. "This time, of all human military facilities." "Of course," Roberts agreed readily. "Though I hope this isn't suggesting a lack of trust in your newest members." A new voice spoke up. "Commander Rax, from the Council's Military Development Division. Actually, I find humans' progress fascinating. Your adaptability is remarkable." His tone carried an edge that Miller didn't like. "Perhaps," Rax continued, "we could arrange a joint military exercise to better understand human training methods." Roberts smiled broadly. "What an excellent idea. Though we're still learning to use our new weapons effectively, we wouldn't want to embarrass ourselves." As the meeting continued, Miller noticed something interesting. The council members weren't united in their suspicion. Some, like Rax, seemed genuinely curious about human capabilities. Others appeared almost afraid of what humans might discover in council technology. After the session, Roberts and Miller headed to their temporary quarters in the council station. Once their anti-surveillance systems were active, Roberts let out a long breath. "They're getting suspicious," Miller said quietly. "Good thing we're ready for that," Roberts replied. "All ships are equipped with the new hybrid weapons." Miller nodded. "Disguised as standard council models. Dr. Thompson's latest version is completely undetectable, and we've started adding the modified shields to our colonies." Perfect timing. Because Commander Rax wasn't just suggesting the joint exercise out of curiosity. Roberts brought up a classified report on his secure tablet. "Our intelligence suggests there's a faction in the Council that wants to take direct control of Earth's military development. They're worried we're learning too much, too fast." Miller studied the report. "They still think we're just copying their technology. They haven't figured out we're improving it." "Let's keep it that way," Roberts said grimly. "Continue the deception. Act struggling but eager to learn. Meanwhile, every ship we launch will have both energy and kinetic capabilities. And if they decide to force the issue..." Roberts looked out the window at the massive council fleet stationed nearby. "Then they'll learn why humans kept developing different types of weapons instead of relying on just one technology." As if to emphasize his point, a council warship passed by their window, its energy weapons gleaming. Miller noticed how its shield generators pulsed in a predictable pattern, a pattern that Earth's hybrid weapons could now exploit with deadly accuracy. The Council thought they were watching humans carefully. They didn't realize they were the ones being studied. The warning came at midnight Earth time. Commander Rax's faction had made their move. launching a massive fleet toward Earth's colonies. Their message was simple: submit to direct council control or face destruction. They didn't wait for an answer. Admiral Roberts stood on the bridge of the Earth Defense Force flagship Deception, watching as over 300 Council warships emerged from faster-than-light travel near Saturn's orbit. The massive vessels glowed with powerful energy weapons, their shields creating beautiful patterns in space. "They're broadcasting their demands again," his communications officer reported. "They say our rapid advancement proves we need direct oversight. They're offering to spare our colonies if we surrender immediately." Roberts smiled grimly. "Send our response. Come and take them." The Council fleet moved forward with perfect formation, their energy weapons charging. According to their scans, they faced only 50 human ships equipped with basic Council technology. It should have been an easy victory. Should have been. "All ships, execute Plan Thunder," Roberts ordered calmly. Across the human fleet, hidden weapon ports opened. To the Council's sensors, it looked like standard energy weapons powering up. But Dr. Thompson's latest hybrid technology had a surprise waiting. The Council fleet fired first, sending waves of energy beams toward the human ships. The attacks splashed harmlessly against shields that somehow adapted to each hit, growing stronger instead of weaker. Then humanity showed its true strength. The first volley from the human fleet looked like normal energy fire, until it struck. Council shields, designed to stop energy weapons, did nothing against the hybrid rounds hidden within the energy signatures. Ships that had never been damaged in battle suddenly found holes punched through their shield generators and weapon systems. "Impossible." Commander Rax's voice boomed across all channels. "You're using kinetic weapons. How dare you violate Council law?" "Funny thing about laws," Roberts responded while his fleet launched another devastating volley. "They work better when everyone agrees to them." The Council fleet's perfect formation broke apart as they realized their shields were useless. Some ships tried to close distance, thinking human weapons would be less effective up close. They learned another painful lesson. Human gunners had centuries of experience leading moving targets. A Council dreadnought, 10 times the size of the largest human ship, moved to crush the Deception. Its massive energy weapons could tear through any known shield, but it never got the chance to fire. Precisely aimed hybrid rounds, combining magnetic acceleration with energy masking, punched through its bridge before its weapons could fully charge. "Admiral," his tactical officer called out, "they're trying to adapt their shields. Changing frequencies." "Just like we expected," Roberts nodded. "Signal all ships. Switch to pattern beta." The human fleet's attacks changed, now mixing pure energy beams with hybrid rounds in an unpredictable pattern. The Council ships couldn't adapt their shields fast enough to handle both types of weapons. In just 20 minutes, a third of the Council fleet was disabled, not destroyed. Roberts had ordered precision strikes to disable rather than destroy. He wanted survivors to report what happened here. "They're retreating," someone announced, unable to keep the pride from their voice. Indeed, the mighty Council fleet was running, their perfect formations shattered, their confidence broken. They'd expected to find primitive humans playing with technology they barely understood. Instead, they'd found an enemy that had combined old and new into something deadlier than either. As the Council ships fled into faster-than-light travel, Roberts sent one final message. "Next time, ask nicely before demanding we change our ways." In his private quarters later, Roberts watched the battle recordings. Humanity's first major space battle had ended in victory, but he knew this was just the beginning. The Council would have to rethink many things now: their laws, their assumptions, and most importantly, their attitude toward primitive weapons. Sometimes, he reflected, the old ways combined with the new created something greater than either could be alone. The Council had thought they were uplifting humanity. Instead, they'd given humans the tools to revolutionize warfare itself. The great chamber of the Galactic Council looked very different now. Where once there had been only the elegant curves of energy weapon mounts on the walls, Now there hung examples of various weapon types from across the galaxy. Among them, in a place of honor, was a human hybrid cannon. Admiral Roberts stood at the speaker's podium, addressing the largest gathering of Council species in recent history. 6 months had passed since the battle that changed everything. "The time has come," he said, his voice carrying across the chamber, "to reconsider what we mean by advanced technology." In the audience, Captain Miller sat next to Dr. Thompson, both now wearing the new uniforms of Earth's Space Defense Force. The uniforms incorporated both Council technology and traditional human military design, a visible symbol of the changes sweeping the galaxy. For centuries, Roberts continued, the Council believed that progress meant moving in only one direction. Energy weapons were advanced, kinetic weapons were primitive, but nature itself uses both energy and matter. Why shouldn't we? The chamber was silent. Many of the Council members who had once laughed at human weapons now sat with thoughtful expressions. Some were already taking notes on datapads. "We propose a new approach," Roberts said. "Not the abandonment of energy weapons, but the integration of multiple technologies. The recent pirate attacks on Council trade routes have dropped by 80% and ships began carrying hybrid defense systems." This brought murmurs of approval. After the failed attack on Earth's colonies, many Council species had quietly approached humanity about weapon development. The same Council members who once mocked primitive weapons now eagerly studied human military history. Ambassador Thex, who had first contacted humanity on that fateful day, stood up. "The Council acknowledges its misunderstanding of human military technology. We propose a new division within the Council, the Department of Hybrid Technologies, to be jointly led by human and Council experts." Dr. Thompson straightened in her seat. She'd already been offered a leading role in the new department. Her hybrid weapon designs were now among the most studied technical documents in Council space. Furthermore, Thex continued, "We propose ending the ban on kinetic weapons. Each species should be free to develop their military technology as they see fit, within safe guidelines." The vote that followed was nearly unanimous. Only a few hardliners, including the now dismissed Commander Rax, opposed the change. The galaxy was entering a new era. After the session, Miller found himself looking at the weapon display. Next to the hybrid cannon hung an old Earth revolver, its simple mechanical beauty drawing surprising attention from alien visitors. "They're like children discovering their grandfather's tools," Dr. Thompson said, joining him. "Yesterday, I had to explain the concept of rifling to a group of Council weapon designers. They were amazed by the elegance of the design. And now everyone wants hybrid weapons," Miller nodded. "Our factories can barely keep up with the demand for training and equipment." "The best part," Roberts added, walking up to them, "is that they're finally asking questions instead of making assumptions. 3 Council species have already discovered ways to improve our designs by adding their own traditional weapons technology to the mix." They watched as a group of alien engineers studied the revolver, discussing excitedly how its principles could be combined with their energy projection technology. "You know what this means?" Thompson asked with a smile. "The next war, if it comes, won't be won by the side with the most advanced technology. It'll be won by the side that best combines all available technologies." Miller looked out the chamber's massive windows at the combined fleet doing maneuvers, Council ships and human vessels training together, each learning from the other. "Then let's hope we never need to fight another war," he said. "But if we do, we'll face it together, with every tool at our disposal." The galaxy had learned an important lesson. True advancement wasn't about abandoning the old for the new, but about finding ways to make them work together. And it had taken a primitive species to teach them that.